Somewhere on a Formula One weekend, a driver steps out of the car, and within seconds, a watch worth €500,000 appears on his wrist. Not by accident, not by chance. That moment is planned, engineered, and worth millions. Because in Formula One, a watch isn't about telling time. It never was. It's about who controls the most valuable real estate in sport, the human wrist, and how much that is worth in 2026. Let's go back to the very beginning, the 1950s. Formula One is barely a sport yet. It's a collection of determined men in leather helmets driving dangerously fast machines around circuits with minimal safety barriers and a lot of cigarette smoke. Timing is done by hand, pit crews with mechanical stopwatches, engineers squinting at dials, scribbling numbers on notepads. A watch in this world is a tool. Functional, practical, no different from a spanner or a fuel gauge. Nobody is paying millions to be on a driver's wrist. Nobody has even thought of it. That's about to change, and like so many great business stories, it starts with one ambitious man and a handshake. The year is 1969. A Swiss watch company called Heuer, founded in 1860 and known for precision chronographs, makes a decision that will echo for decades. They approach a Formula One driver named Joe Siffert, and they offer him something that has never been done before. Siffert agrees to promote Heuer's groundbreaking Caliber 11 automatic chronograph during the 1969 season, displaying the Heuer logo on his car, wearing the Heuer shield on his race suit, and sporting a reference 1163 Autavia on his wrist. It was the first instance of a watch brand, or any luxury brand outside the automotive industry, sponsoring a Formula One driver and featuring its logo on a race car. Think about what that moment represents. A watch company looks at a sport watched by millions, sees a driver's wrist appearing in every photograph, every broadcast, every highlight reel, and says, "That's our advertisement." In 1971, Heuer made history by becoming the first watch brand to sponsor a Formula One team, with its logo emblazoned on the cars of Scuderia Ferrari. A wrist became a billboard, and nobody had seen it coming. By the 1980s, everything had changed. Formula One had become global television. Sponsors were pouring in, and Heuer, now renamed TAG Heuer after a pivotal acquisition, found itself at the very heart of the sport's most glamorous era. Heuer embarked on a partnership with McLaren in 1985, which would become one of the longest in Formula One history. During that time, drivers such as Ayrton Senna, Mika Hakkinen, and Lewis Hamilton raced for the team. Ayrton Senna, the most celebrated driver of his generation, on his wrist, TAG Heuer. TAG Heuer served as the official timekeeper of Formula One from 1992 to 2003. Every lap time on your screen, TAG Heuer. Every sector gap, every race clock, every finish line graphic, that logo was everywhere for over a decade. But here's the business insight nobody talks about. TAG Heuer doesn't just sell watches. In 1986, TAG Heuer introduced the Formula One watch, a bold and vibrant model that became a cultural icon. With its brightly colored cases, straps, and dials, it was a smashing success, solidifying the brand's connection to motorsport. Luxury Bazaar. Formula One wasn't just marketing for the watch was marketing itself into the mainstream. Now we enter the era that redefined what a watch partnership in Formula One could mean. The year is 2004. A relatively new watchmaker named Richard Mille, whose brand was only founded in 1999, approaches a young Brazilian driver named Felipe Massa with an unusual proposition. Felipe wanted a watch capable of resisting the high G-forces in Formula One racetrack conditions, while being extremely light and easy to wear. In 2004, the RM006 Felipe Massa, weighing only 43 grams, was the first watch to bear the Brazilian driver's name. A radical innovation with its brand new movement baseplate made of carbon nanofiber. As one of the first professional athletes to wear a tourbillon during competition, Felipe Massa's collaboration with Richard Mille revolutionized sports watchmaking, proving that ultra-lightweight materials and shock-resistant movements could withstand the extreme conditions of professional racing. This is a watch being tested at 300 kilometers per hour. The partnership isn't decoration, it is engineering validation. And that changes everything. Because now, when Richard Mille says their watches can survive anything, they have receipts from a Formula One cockpit. Since 2013, the brand has sponsored teams including Lotus Formula One, Haas Formula One, and Alfa Romeo. Their driver roster has included Jules Bianchi, Fernando Alonso, Kimi Raikkonen, Charles Leclerc, Romain Grosjean, Mick Schumacher, and Felipe Massa. Every one of those names, a living advertisement. Every wrist shot is a product endorsement worth more than any magazine campaign, and the watches themselves are priced at hundreds of thousands of euros, some well past the million mark. The exclusivity is the point. While Richard Mille owned the driver's wrists, another watch brand went after something even bigger, the sport itself. Rolex, the top Swiss watch brand, became the timekeeping sponsor of Formula One in 2013. According to Forbes, Rolex paid an estimated annual fee of $50 million to Formula One in order for their logo to be plastered on cars, drivers, and advertising boards at racetracks. $50 million a year, every season, for over a decade. For Rolex, it wasn't about being on a wrist, it was about being on the screen. Every broadcast, every timing graphic, every pit lane clock bearing the crown logo of the world's most recognized watch brand. By 2024, Rolex's green and gold had become as recognizable at a Formula One circuit as the checkered flag. And then, they lost it. October 2024, Formula One and LVMH announced a partnership described as historic, and the watch world held its breath. A potential new annual contract with LVMH could be worth $150 million, thought to be 3 times higher than the $50 million Rolex had been paying. It is reported that Rolex balked at the $150 million per year price tag, and so the crown was handed over. Tag Heuer, as the official timekeeping partner, assumed one of the most prominent roles within the LVMH Formula One partnership, representing the jewelry and watches division, which recorded revenues of 10.6 billion euros for the 2024 fiscal year. The official timekeeper of Formula One in 2026 is Tag Heuer. The Swiss watch brand returned to the role in 2025 as part of the major partnership between Formula One and LVMH Tag Heuer, back where it started. 57 years after Joe Siffert first wore that logo on his wrist at a race circuit, the brand is once again the official voice of time in Formula One. And this time, the deal runs for 10 years. So why watches? Of all the products in the world, why does Formula One keep coming back to the wrist? Because of what a watch means. A watch is the only luxury item visible in every situation. In an interview, on a podium, in a post-race photo, through a helmet visor, under a fire suit sleeve pulled back by the force of a corner. It's always there, and it always says something about the person wearing it. In Formula One, where the entire sport is built on precision, engineering, and microseconds, a watch is not a fashion accessory. It is a statement of values. And for a brand like Richard Mille, or Tag Heuer, or Rolex, that alignment is worth far more than a billboard. Formula One is aligned with the exclusivity of Rolex, a sport where there are only 20 drivers competing for 10 teams. 20 drivers, 20 wrists, each one a platform reaching hundreds of millions of viewers worldwide. When you sell a watch for 500,000 euros, you only need one customer. But if a billion people see it, you have already made the sale. Here is what the history of watches in Formula One actually tells us. It started as function, a stopwatch in a pit lane. It became identity, a logo on a legend's wrist. It became power, billion-dollar contracts fought over by the world's greatest luxury houses. And in 2026, every time a camera pans to a driver's wrist, every time you see a timing graphic on screen, every time a pit lane clock ticks over, that is not accident. That is strategy. Measured in decades and worth hundreds of millions. Next race, do not just watch the cars, watch the wrists, because every single one is there for a reason. And if you want to understand the full luxury machine that Formula One has become, check out our video on the history of champagne in Formula One, and how Moet went from a happy accident in 1966 to a billion-dollar comeback in 2025. It is all connected, and it is all on your screen right now. Have you already seen our video about the history of champagne? It is also interesting. Go check it out, subscribe, and see you next time.